Welcome everyone to the deep dive. This is your essential shortcut to staying well informed. We try to cut through all that noise, the information overload, and bring you the most important bits of knowledge and insight.
That's the goal.
And today we're diving into something that, well, it really resonates globally, I think. It's this deep human yearning for leadership that's authentic, principled, and frankly, effective.
You really do see it everywhere.
You do, don't you? This kind of palpable sense of crisis in leadership. It shows up as, outright corruption sometimes, or maybe just a relentless focus on short-term gains.
The next quarter, the next election cycle.
Exactly. Or that kind of transactional politics where everything's a deal and it leaves people feeling, well, pretty disillusioned, right? Unheard, cynical about the whole idea of leadership.
It's a deep problem. It affects institutions, society, even our own, personal well-being.
It really does. So here's the core question for this deep dive. How can we possibly find enduring wisdom for leadership, especially now, in an era of just constant, almost dizzying change and these unprecedented challenges?
Finding that anchor?
Yes. An unwavering moral compass when the world feels like it's spinning faster every day. New tech, societal shifts, it's a lot.
It is.
And our guide for this exploration, it comes from some really fascinating excerpts. They're from a text exploring prophetic leadership, timeless principles for modern challenges.
A very relevant source for today.
Couldn't agree more. Our mission today is, I think, incredibly compelling. We're going to investigate how the leadership principles embodied by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, how they remain profoundly relevant today.
Right.
Providing a moral compass for leaders across just such a diverse range of fields. We're talking politics, sure, but also business and even, the real cutting-edge stuff like technology and our AI-driven society.
It spans quite a range.
It really does. So what does it truly mean for you, listening right now, to make contemporary decisions, often under intense pressure, while staying firmly rooted in these, well, eternal values?
Yeah.
Especially when the ground feels like it's constantly shifting.
How do you lead with integrity, with justice, with vision when, let's be honest, the temptation for those quick wins, those compromises, it's always there?
Always.
That's a powerful setup, and it highlights a fundamental tension, doesn't it? What's fascinating here, and I think really vital for you to grasp, is this core insight. Modern leadership often seems to be chasing, fleeting trends.
Like following the latest management fad.
Exactly. It's almost like trying to navigate a vast ocean by, a constantly changing weather vane, or steering a ship just by looking at the wave right in front of you.
You'd get nowhere fast.
Yeah.
Or maybe somewhere dangerous.
Precisely. In stark contrast, the kind of principled leadership we're exploring today, it offers an unshakable anchor. It provides that stable point of reference even in the stormiest seas. It gives you direction, resilience.
And you need that anchor most when the seas are stormy, right?
That's exactly it. Its value is greatest when things are turbulent, when the currents are strong, visibility is low. And this distinction, it isn't just academic theory, it's profoundly practical. It's crucial for you, whether you're leading a big team.
Or just your family.
Or just your family, guiding them through decisions. Or even just navigating your own ethical choices in this complex world we live in. That need for an internal, unwavering compass, it's universal.
Absolutely.
And we'll touch on the sheer breadth of its application today. We're talking high-stakes decisions in corporate boardrooms, global political arenas, right down to the really intricate ethical stuff in algorithmic design that's shaping our digital future.
Wow. Okay. So it really stretches.
It does. Prepare to be surprised, I think, by the unexpected, the profound reach of these principles. They show how ancient wisdom can illuminate our most modern, even our most futuristic dilemmas. And just a quick note, for clarity, when you see or hear after Prophet Muhammad's name, it's shorthand for the traditional invocation, peace be upon him.
Got it. Good clarification. Okay, let's dive deeper into this contemporary landscape we've just sketched out. Because when you look around, it's really not hard to spot the signs, often painful signs, of this crisis in ethical leadership.
They're quite visible.
Very. We see corruption, and like you said, it's not just the huge political scandals, so yeah, those are part of it. It's also the smaller things, right? The sort of insidious self-dealing, the conflicts of interest.
The bending of rules.
Yeah, bending the rules for personal gain, things that just quietly erode public trust from the ground up. Then there's that pervasive short-termism we mentioned, leaders, whether they're in business or politics, just prioritizing the immediate gains.
The next quarterly report.
The next report, the upcoming election, maybe just a fleeting media story, all over sustainable, long-term well-being or strategic thinking. Feels like optics over impact.
That's a good way to put it. Optics over impact.
And finally, that transactional politics. Everything's a deal, a quid pro quo, just negotiating interests, rather than a real commitment to public service or the collective good.
It becomes less about building a shared future, more about horse trading for immediate advantage.
Exactly. It's like that analogy you mentioned earlier, a grand ship trying to navigate treacherous waters without a rudder.
Or building on shifting sands, ignoring the unstable foundation beneath.
Yeah. And this lack of principled leadership, it creates immense instability. It leaves people vulnerable, susceptible to manipulation, creates a vacuum where trust and collaboration should be.
The human cost is huge. Disillusionment, social unrest, economic inequality.
And just a general, really corrosive cynicism about leadership itself. When leaders consistently prioritize self-interest or chase those fleeting gains, the ripple effect on society is profound. It's widespread, deeply damaging. It undermines the very fabric of community.
Which brings us right to the urgent need for a truly timeless model. And that's precisely what Prophet Muhammad offers. What makes his model of principled leadership genuinely timeless isn't, the cultural specifics of 7th century Arabia, though that context is important.
Right, it's something deeper.
Exactly. It's deep foundation in universal human values. Principles like justice, integrity, compassion. These transcend any particular era, any geography, any specific societal structure. They speak to the core of what it means to be human.
So they resonate across cultures.
They resonate because they tap into fundamental human aspirations. Fairness, security, progress, dignity. Things everyone, everywhere fundamentally desires.
That makes sense.
And this stands in stark contrast, as we were saying, to many modern leadership theories. Think about it. How often do we see new leadership fads, new management approaches that pop up with every trend, every tech breakthrough?
And then they're gone in a few years.
Replaced by the next big thing. Prophetic leadership, on the other hand, provides a consistent, unwavering framework. It's rooted in that profound insight that this form of leadership inherently anchors decisions and values.
The anchor again?
It's the anchor. And this isn't just like a moral preference. It's a strategic advantage. It's a source of resilience, of adaptability. It gives you that stable reference point in this incredibly turbulent world.
So you can adapt without losing your way.
Precisely. It allows for profound adaptability to new tech, new social dynamics, new global challenges without ever compromising those core principles. You're flexible in how you act, but absolutely steadfast in what you stand for. And ultimately, it asks you, our listener, what kind of leader do you aspire to be? One just buffeted by every passing breeze, reacting to every trend? Or one with that unshakable foundation, capable of weathering any storm and guiding towards a lasting vision?
That's a powerful question. Okay, let's unpack this then. Let's really get into the nuts and bolts, the core of this leadership model our sources highlight. We're talking about 4 absolutely foundational, timeless principles.
The cornerstones.
Exactly, like the cornerstones of a strong, resilient building. They are justice, consultation, integrity, and service. And these aren't just, abstract buzzwords. They're the bedrock.
Yeah.
They offer a really robust framework for navigating modern complexities.
Absolutely. And understanding them deeply isn't just about memorizing definitions. It's about seeing their practical power, their profound relevance today. Let's delve into each one properly.
Let's do it. Where do we start? Justice.
Let's start with justice. Idle. Now, this principle is about far more than just, say, legal fairness in a courtroom. It's about treating everyone fairly, regardless of status, background, or personal affiliation.
So impartiality is key.
Inherent impartiality. It demands that rights are upheld, wrongs are rectified, without fear or favor, without prejudice for or against anyone. Imagine a society where every single person, the most powerful politician, the most vulnerable citizen, expects absolute equity, not just under the law, but from their leaders in all dealings.
That sounds almost utopian in some contexts today.
It's a high standard, definitely, and stories from the Sirah, the Prophet's biography, they really illustrate this in action. There's a famous one. A respected woman from a noble tribe was accused of theft.
Okay.
And there was pressure, naturally, because of her social standing, to maybe overlook it or give her lenient treatment.
Right, connections matter.
But the Prophet famously declared, and this is powerful, by God, if Fatima, the daughter of Muhammad, had committed theft, I would have cut off her hand.
Wow, his own daughter.
His own daughter. It wasn't just a statement. It was a demonstration of unwavering commitment. No one was above the law, not even his own family. The societal impact of a leader who consistently upholds justice like that, it's immense. It fosters deep trust, it guarantees rights, it builds lasting stability.
It fights that cynicism we talked about.
Exactly. It ensures a level playing field, which is foundational for any thriving, equitable community.
Okay, that's justice. What's next? Consultation.
Next up is shura, consultation. This defines inclusive decision-making. It highlights that collaborative, participatory nature. It's not about the leader having all the answers, making decrees from on high.
Not the lone geniuses model.
Definitely not. It's about actively seeking, valuing, and genuinely integrating the input of others, experts, yes, but also stakeholders, the community at large, anyone affected.
And why is that so important? More than just being nice.
Oh, much more. It's a strategic imperative. When leaders genuinely consult, they tap into a wider pool of knowledge, experience, perspectives. This almost invariably leads to better, more robust decisions.
Because you minimize blind spots.
Exactly. You minimize blind spots, you anticipate potential problems you might have missed, you leverage collective intelligence, and critically, it also garners greater buy-in. People feel ownership.
So implementation is smoother.
Much smoother. People are more committed if they felt heard in the process. The Siwa gives powerful examples here too. Even when the prophet, had divine guidance, he still consulted. A prime instance is the Battle of Uhud.
Ah, yes, I know this one.
His initial preference was a defensive strategy, staying within Medina. But many of his younger companions argued passionately for meeting the enemy outside the city.
And he listened?
He listened, and he ultimately adopted their plan, even though it differed from his initial view. It showed profound respect for collective opinion, it underscored the power of diverse perspectives, and it built that shared ownership, that shared responsibility.
Even though, in that specific case, the outcome wasn't ideal initially.
Even so, the principle of consultation itself was upheld, and the long-term unity and learning were crucial. It wasn't about always being right in the conventional sense immediately, but about the process and the collective spirit.
Okay, that's powerful. Justice, consultation. What's the third cornerstone?
The third is integrity, amana. This principle defines trustworthiness as non-negotiable. It's the absolute bedrock. And it's more than just, not telling lies.
More than basic honesty.
Much more. It's a deeper, all-encompassing commitment to fulfilling all trusts and responsibilities placed upon you. Promises, duties, confidential information, assets belonging to others.
Okay, so it's about reliability, accountability.
Consistently reliable, transparent, principled in public and private dealings. And the Sirah gives that really poignant example. Long before prophethood, Muhammad was universally known in Mecca as Al-Amin.
The trustworthy.
The trustworthy. And that reputation wasn't built overnight or through some PR campaign. It was earned through years of consistent, unimpeachable integrity in his business dealings, his personal life, how he treated everyone.
So people trusted him implicitly.
They'd deposit their valuables with him for safekeeping. They knew he wouldn't betray that trust. This kind of integrity, it builds lasting relationships and unblemished reputation, essential for any leader wanting to inspire confidence, loyalty.
And when it's compromised?
Trust erodes instantly. Alliances crumble. The whole structure weakens. Cynicism sets in. Amana, integrity, it's like the invisible glue holding communities and organizations together.
Right. Justice, consultation, integrity, and the fourth.
Finally, and this one is truly radical, especially compared to traditional power dynamics. Service, Kidma. This defines leadership as responsibility, not privilege.
That flips the script completely.
Completely. It teaches that true leadership isn't about accumulating personal benefits, wielding authority for self-aggrandizement, enjoying perks. No, it's seeing your position as a sacred trust to serve the community.
To uplift others.
To alleviate suffering, champion the needs of the vulnerable, strive tirelessly for the betterment of others, often at the personal cost. The Sirah is filled with stories showing the Prophet's selflessness.
Example.
Countless accounts. Him participating in manual labor, digging the trench alongside companions, repairing his own clothes, his own shoes, helping the needy by carrying their burdens, consistently putting others' needs before his own comfort.
So leading by example, literally serving.
He embodied the idea that a leader isn't one who is served, but one who serves. The transformative effect of this servant leadership, it's profound. It doesn't just inspire loyalty and affection, though it does that. It actively fosters collective effort. It encourages empathy. It creates a culture of giving, not taking.
Shifting the whole paradigm.
From top-down command to a collaborative effort driven by shared purpose and mutual care.
Wow, okay, justice, consultation, integrity, service. So what does this all mean for us today, facing 21st century challenges? What's the big takeaway here?
The critical lesson, the one that just leaps out, is that these principles are universal across time and place. Their effectiveness isn't limited by culture or era or context or even belief system.
Why do they resonate so broadly, do you think?
Because they tap into fundamental human needs for fairness, for participation, for reliability, or for care. They speak to that inherent human desire for leaders who genuinely uplift and empower, not dominate or exploit or neglect. They are, you could say, foundational for human flourishing, a blueprint for creating not just effective organizations, but just and compassionate societies.
That foundation feels incredibly strong. Now let's take these timeless principles, justice, consultation, integrity, service, and bridge that gap. Let's apply them directly to politics and governance in the 21st century. How does a model from, over 1,000 years ago inform contemporary statecraft, especially with today's complexities, global pandemics, climate change, all of it?
Right, and this is where the profound power and relevance of the prophetic model really shines. It offers a stark, often challenging contrast to many prevailing political norms. It posits that leadership is accountability to God and people.
Dual accountability. Explain that.
It's crucial. It's not vague. There's an internal moral compass, that deep sense of responsibility to a higher power, which acts as a constant check against corruption, against self-interest, against abusing power. It operates even when external checks might be weak.
An internal audit.
Exactly. But equally vital is the external responsibility to the populace. The leader isn't above the people. They're ultimately answerable to them. Tasked with safeguarding their welfare, protecting their rights, ensuring their voices are heard, this dual accountability sets an incredibly high standard for public service.
Okay, and how does that contrast with what we often see today?
Well, contrast it starkly with what we often see in, say, today's authoritarian or self-serving leadership. These leaders often lack transparency, there's little oversight, they tend to view power as an end in itself.
A tool for personal gain, consolidating control.
Right. Rather than a means to genuinely serve the public good. The prophetic model fundamentally reorients this. It emphasizes humility and service as the essence of power. It turns that traditional power pyramid upside down. Power becomes a burden of responsibility, not a trophy of privilege.
So how does that translate into concrete actions for modern governments?
Okay, practical applications. It means genuine transparency. Not just token gestures, but open books on budgets, clear decision-making processes, accessible information so citizens can actually understand how they're governed, and hold leaders accountable.
Like robust freedom of information laws.
Absolutely. And independent oversight bodies. It means authentic public service, where officials see their roles as a sacred duty, not a stepping stone for ambition or wealth. And it cultivates profound humility in office, recognizing that even the highest authority is a trust temporary, conditional on serving the people.
What does that humility look like in practice?
It looks like leaders actively engaging with citizens, town halls, forums, genuinely listening. It looks like leaders being willing to admit mistakes, take responsibility, and course correct instead of just clinging to flawed policies to save face. That humility builds trust, allows for adaptive governance.
There's that powerful quote, isn't there, about the leader being a servant.
Yes. A powerful statement from the prophet that just encapsulates this. The leader of a people is their servant. Think about how radical that is. Historically, even today, leaders are often seen as masters, demanding obedience.
Right.
This completely redefines the power dynamic. The leader becomes dedicated to the community's needs, welfare, interests, putting them first, even above their own. Imagine if this principle truly permeated political discourse today.
How would it change things? Campaigning, policymaking?
It could reshape everything. Our expectations of leaders, the very purpose of holding office, it would shift the entire conversation.
It really challenges you. What stands out to you here listening? How do these ideals, dual accountability, service, humility, compare to the political leaders you see? In your country, your news cycle, what kind of leadership does this inspire you to seek or maybe even embody yourself?
It pushes us beyond charisma, beyond empty promises to demand substance, integrity.
Absolutely. That's
Okay.
a really challenging perspective on politics. Let's shift focus now from the corridors of power to um, the marketplace, from government halls to corporate boardrooms driving the global economy.
A different arena, but similar challenges.
Definitely. There's often this perceived, sometimes very real disconnect between ethics and profit, isn't there? The pressure to maximize shareholder value, grow at all costs. It can make ethics seem secondary, an obstacle even.
The bottom line seems to rule.
Right. So can this ancient wisdom truly guide modern commerce? Can integrity and service actually thrive alongside profitability?
The answer is a resounding yes, and not just as, like, a nice moral idea, but as a blueprint for sustainable long-term success. The prophetic principles offer incredibly robust practical guidance for economic activity. They emphasize honesty in trade and the absolute prohibition of exploitation.
So fairness in transactions.
Fairness, transparency, mutual benefit. No one exploited, misled, or unfairly disadvantaged. When you have that, trust flourishes. Capital flows more easily. Trade becomes genuinely beneficial, not a zero-sum game or a race to the bottom. It builds market confidence.
You mentioned the Al-Amin spy earlier in the context of integrity generally.
Yes, and let's revisit it specifically for business. Prophet Muhammad was known as Al-Amin, the trustworthy, in his business dealings before prophethood, before any specific religious injunctions on commerce.
So his reputation was built purely on his actions as a merchant.
Exactly. It wasn't just a biographical detail. It shows his integrity was established through his commercial dealings. His word was his bond, his scales accurate, his goods as promised, his commitments kept, even if it meant less profit sometimes. It powerfully shows that ethical conduct isn't an add-on to success. It precedes and underlies it. It's the bedrock. It creates a competitive advantage based on trust.
How does this connect to modern ideas like, say, corporate social responsibility, CSR?
We can connect it definitely to things like ethical entrepreneurship and CSR, but with a crucial distinction. Sometimes, let's be honest, modern CSR can feel a bit like marketing.
Performative, improving public image.
Right, rather than fundamentally reshaping practices. The prophetic model demands a deeper, more intrinsic integration of values. It's not about what looks good, it's about what is genuinely good for all stakeholders.
Oh, beyond just shareholders.
Absolutely. Employees, customers, suppliers, the wider community, the environment. It means designing products that genuinely benefit people, ensuring fair labor all down the supply chain, being environmentally responsible, honest advertising, dealing equitably with everyone. It's a foundational ethos guiding every single aspect of the business.
That's a much higher bar than just, say, donating a percentage of profits.
Much higher. And the profound lesson here, especially relevant for today's volatile markets, is crystal clear. Businesses built on trust sustain longer than those built on manipulation.
Short-term versus long-term again.
Exactly. Short-term manipulative gains, cutting corners, deceptive ads, exploiting workers might boost profits for a quarter, but they inevitably erode reputation, destroy loyalty, invite regulation, and lead to a brittle, unsustainable model.
Can't withstand the storms.
Whereas integrity, it builds robust relationships, deep brand loyalty, attracts and retains top talent, creates an enduring legacy. It builds a reservoir of goodwill and credibility that helps you weather the downturns.
Makes sense. So, thinking about your work, listening now, or the businesses you patronize, how do they reflect these values? Honesty, non-exploitation, service. What impact can you have as an employee, a consumer, maybe an entrepreneur?
Choosing to support or create businesses that embody these principles, it's a powerful form of economic and social activism, really.
Okay, now here's where it gets, I think, really interesting and maybe most challenging. Let's shift to the incredibly complex, rapidly evolving, often ethically murky world of technology and AI.
The digital frontier.
Exactly. We all see the immense potential, right?
Yeah.
AI solving huge problems, medical diagnostics, climate modeling, energy grids.
The upside is massive.
Huge. But alongside that promise are significant, profound ethical challenges, emerging faster than we can often regulate them. Privacy, bias, job displacement.
Existential questions sometimes.
Right. So the critical question, how do timeless values, ancient wisdom, provide a moral compass here? For innovations pushing the very boundaries of human experience, reshaping society at warp speed, can something so old really guide something so new?
This is arguably one of the most critical applications. The stakes with AI are extraordinarily high. It impacts billions of lives, maybe even the definition of humanity itself. And AI specifically raises those critical ethical dilemmas that demand a robust moral framework.
Like privacy.
Privacy, absolutely. Facial recognition, massive data collection, often without real consent, predictive analytics. It can infringe on liberties, create surveillance states, undermine trust.
Their bias. That's a big one, too.
Huge. Algorithms trained on historical data that often reflects existing societal inequalities can perpetuate, even amplify, discrimination. In loan applications, hiring, criminal justice, healthcare access.
Real-world harm.
Real-world harm to real people. And then job displacement. As AI gets more capable, entire sectors of human labor could become obsolete. That creates massive economic and social upheaval if we don't manage it ethically, with foresight, widespread unemployment, worsening inequality.
So where does the guidance come in?
This is precisely where prophetic guidance offers a crucial, non-negotiable direction. Technology must serve humanity with justice and compassion. It's not vague. It sets a clear purpose, a moral boundary, an ultimate goal. Innovation should always aim to uplift humanity, enhance dignity, foster well-being, not exploit, diminish, or control.
And is there a core principle for that?
Yes. The core principle, the ethical firewall against misuse, deeply embedded in the tradition, is simply do not harm and do not reciprocate harm. La darar wa la dirar. Any tech advance, any algorithm, any device must first adhere to the absolute imperative of not causing injury or injustice, directly or indirectly. It's proactive. Consider potential harms before you build and deploy.
Okay, do no harm. How does that apply practically to AI development?
It leads directly to the application of using AI for welfare, not exploitation. Think of clear examples. AI in medical diagnostics detecting diseases earlier, personalizing treatments, saving lives. That serves the greater good.
Environmental monitoring.
Right. Tracking pollution, managing resources, predicting disasters, combating climate change. Genuinely serving humanity and the planet. Compare that to AI used for exploitation. Manipulative algorithms exploiting psychological vulnerabilities for profit on social media.
Surveillance states stripping freedoms.
Autonomous weapons systems that dehumanize conflict. The ethical compasses steer firmly towards welfare and vehemently away from exploitation, control, or harm.
And if we don't, if AI development proceeds without these ethical anchors,
we risk building a future where tech, instead of liberating us, actually entrenches inequality, diminishes human agency, automates bias, creates new, sophisticated forms of control and disenfranchisement. What kind of future are we building if our most powerful tools are unmoored from our deepest values? If innovation outpaces our moral imagination?
that's sobering.
It is. So how can you, listening, advocate for ethical AI? As a developer, maybe. A consumer making choices, a citizen engaging in public discourse. What role do you play in ensuring tech, especially AI, serves humanity's best interests, guided by these timeless principles? It demands our collective attention, a conscious moral stance.
That discussion on AI really hits home the urgency, the weight of decisions leaders face. And it brings us to a fundamental truth. Leading is often about making incredibly difficult decisions under pressure. With incomplete information. It's rarely black and white.
Almost never.
So how did these timeless principles guide leaders through profound crises, where the stakes were literally life and death, the survival of a community? What can we learn from those crucible moments for our own complex decisions?
Indeed, the biography of Prophet Muhammad is full of examples of him facing crises of immense scale, existential consequence. Our sources mention, Badir, that pivotal early battle against huge odds. Hudaybiyah, a moment of deep strategic complexity, the various Medina conflicts testing resilience and unity.
These weren't minor issues.
Not at all. Existential threats testing leadership to its absolute limits, demanding courage, wisdom, unwavering principle, even when the path forward was murky. It shows principled leadership isn't about avoiding conflict or difficulty, but navigating it skillfully, with integrity, foresight, and that long-term vision.
And there's a key insight there about balancing short-term versus long-term.
Yes, a crucial one. Highly sophisticated, often counterintuitive. It's the balance between short-term concessions and long-term vision. This isn't weakness or indecision, it's strategic patience. It's having the foresight to see beyond the immediate, often painful, present to a greater, more beneficial future.
So sometimes a compromise now leads to a bigger win later.
Exactly. Sometimes a tactical retreat, a difficult compromise, a seemingly disadvantageous agreement can be the most strategic move for ultimate enduring success, even if it meets initial skepticism, frustration from those only seeing the immediate picture.
Is Hudaybiyah the key example here?
It's the perfect, profoundly powerful illustration. The Treaty of Hudaybiyah, signed in 628 CE between the Muslims from Medina and the Quraysh of Mecca. Initially, it appeared as compromise, but became victory.
How so? The terms seem bad for the Muslims, right?
On the surface, incredibly disadvantageous, even humiliating. They were denied entry to Mecca for the pilgrimage they'd traveled for. They had to return any Meccan converts who came to Medina without permission. But the Meccans didn't have to return Muslim converts who went back to Mecca. A 10-year truce was agreed.
That sounds completely one-sided.
It did. Many companions, even major figures like Umar ibn al-Khattab, were deeply disheartened. They saw it as a setback, an unjust capitulation. Understandable emotional response, given the perceived imbalance.
But there was a deeper strategy.
Profound strategic foresight, the Prophet's long-term vision, that seemingly restrictive truce. It opened up an unprecedented period of peace. No more active warfare between Mecca and Medina.
What did that allow?
It allowed the Muslims to consolidate strength, engage diplomatically with other tribes previously hesitant to align with either side, and critically, it allowed free intermingling. With the immediate threat gone, Meccans and Muslims interacted, debated, observed each other.
Ah, so the interaction changed things.
Massively. This exposed Meccans directly to the Muslims' conduct, their message, their integrity, leading to widespread conversions to Islam in Mecca. What seemed like a bitter pill, a moment of deep compromise, actually paved the way for the peaceful, triumphant conquest of Mecca just 2 years later. A far greater, more bloodless success than immediate conflict could have achieved.
That's a real aha moment. Sacrifice now for future triumph.
Precisely. The overarching leadership lesson is profound and universal. Strategic patience and vision beyond immediate outcomes. Effective leaders must sometimes endure present discomfort, manage dissent over perceived losses, look beyond the immediate emotional reaction.
Hold firm to the long game.
Hold firm to a higher, more distant objective, trusting that principled decisions, even if unpopular now, will bear fruit later. This applies everywhere: complex negotiations, long-term planning, personal life, professional career, leading an organization, family decisions. Cultivating the wisdom to know when to stand firm and when to strategically yield for a greater good.
That's incredibly insightful. What stands out to you listening from Hudaybiyah? Can you recall a time in your life or work a tough negotiation, a long project, where strategic patience, maybe through an uncomfortable compromise, led to greater success later? How could you cultivate that kind of vision, resisting the urge for the quick fix?
It's about training ourselves to see beyond the immediate horizon.
Absolutely. Okay, we've journeyed through millennia of wisdom, connected it right up to today: politics, business, AI. Let's bring this full circle now. We live in this era of relentless, dizzying change, especially the AI era.
The pace is incredible.
It is. And this constant flux, the speed, the competitive pressure, the uncertainty, it creates this undeniable temptation for leaders, doesn't it? To abandon values for quick wins. It's that siren song of short-termism we started with, but amplified hugely by the promise of disruption or exponential growth.
Precisely. And this is why the prophetic model, where values are anchors amidst turbulence, becomes so profoundly significant, not just historically interesting, but an essential practical guide for the future.
Back to the anchor metaphor.
It's the perfect metaphor. Imagine that ship in the tempest. Without the anchor, that deep, heavy, unshakable connection, it drifts aimlessly, risks capsizing, hitting rocks. Values, justice, consultation, integrity, service, they are that anchor for leaders, for organizations.
Providing stability, direction.
Grounding decisions when everything else is chaotic. When markets shift, tech emerges overnight. They stop us being swept away by the immediate, often illusory promise of quick gains.
And you said earlier, these values don't actually restrict innovation.
That's the fascinating insight. They don't restrict it. They provide the ethical framework within which innovation can thrive responsibly and sustainably. They guide creativity towards genuinely beneficial ends. They prevent it straying into harm, exploitation, unintended consequences.
So they enable responsible progress.
Exactly. They ensure progress, especially with powerful tools like AI, serves humanity's best interests, instead of becoming an unchecked, potentially destructive force. It's like building a strong foundation so the innovative skyscraper doesn't collapse or veer dangerously.
So what's the key takeaway for leaders today facing all this?
It leads to an essential, urgent question, one that modern leaders must ask themselves constantly, like a daily moral audit woven into the fabric of decision-making. Does this align with justice, integrity, and service?
Not just in a crisis.
Not just in a crisis or after a scandal, a continuous inquiry, a constant ethical checkpoint in strategic plans, product development, investments, public statements. It forces a pause, reflection, gathering input, ensuring actions are rooted in principle, safeguarding long-term well-being.
And the synthesis.
Yeah.
The formula for leadership.
The overarching conclusion, the synthesis of everything, is succinct but powerful. Excellence equals timeless principles plus context-sensitive decisions. It's not about rigidly applying ancient solutions to modern problems. That's impractical.
It's about adaptation.
It's about profoundly understanding these enduring principles, justice, consultation, integrity, service, and then creatively, wisely, adaptively applying them in a way that respects the unique context, the specific challenges of now. It allows both steadfastness in values and the flexibility needed for innovative strategic decisions. It's the ultimate balance.
That makes perfect sense.
That's
So,
you.
as you reflect on this deep dive, listening now, how does your internal compass guide you amidst turbulent decisions, personal or professional? What's one specific principle, justice, consultation, integrity, or service that you can consciously try to apply this week, bringing that ancient wisdom into your modern life?
It starts with that conscious application.
Wow, what an incredible deep dive that was. We've really covered some ground millennia of wisdom, tackled complex modern issues, seen how ancient insights offer potent solutions. Let's quickly recap the big lessons we've unearthed, just to reinforce the core message for you, our listener.
Good idea.
We've learned pretty unequivocally, I think, that leadership excellence is rooted in values, not fleeting trends. Trends come and go. Values endure like that anchor.
Absolutely.
We also solidify that powerful idea that justice, consultation, integrity, and service are timeless anchors, providing stability and direction in this often confusing world.
The four cornerstones.
Exactly. And it's clearer than ever that modern contexts, politics, business, technology, need prophetic wisdom more than ever. And specifically how the AI era profoundly requires ethical anchors to guide innovation, ensuring advancements actually serve humanity.
Not create more problems.
Right. And ultimately, that powerful takeaway about balancing timeless principles with smart, context-sensitive approaches, not choosing one or the other, but integrating both.
That synergy is key. And as we wrap up, I really want to encourage you, our listener, to engage in some personal, maybe even transformative reflection.
A call to action.
A call to action. Take a moment, maybe this week, to audit your leadership, whether that's at home, in your community, at work, whatever your role. Ask yourself honestly, where am I perhaps compromising core values for a perceived short-term gain? That self-awareness, that honest inventory, it's the crucial first step.
Okay, audit yourself. What else?
Second, challenge yourself. Identify just one specific prophetic principle, justice, consultation, integrity, or service that you can commit to strengthening in your role, in your interactions this week or this month. Make it a conscious effort, a daily practice.
Focus on one.
Focus on one to start. And finally, let's try a case study reflection from our discussion. How can you apply that who'd-I-buy style strategic patience and long-term vision in one specific area of your life or leadership?
Thinking long-term.
Think of a long-term goal needing perseverance. A tough negotiation where instant gratification is tempting. A difficult relationship needing patient investment. Cultivate that vision beyond immediate outcomes for greater, lasting success.
That's a practical exercise.
And as a guiding principle for all future decisions, big or small, commit to asking yourself every major choice. Does this align with my fundamental values, and does it genuinely serve others? That simple, profound question can reshape your leadership journey, make it more impactful, more ethical, more fulfilling.
So what does this all mean for you? It means you have access to a powerful, time-tested framework, a profound wisdom that can transform not just your own leadership, but maybe inspire those around you, creating ripples.
The potential is immense.
It really is. The potential to lead with purpose, integrity, and lasting impact in a world that, let's face it, desperately needs it. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into knowledge, a journey that, as always, is ongoing.
Thank you for listening.
We'll see you next time, hopefully equipped with some new perspectives and timeless wisdom.